Every civilization believes it will be different. Every powerful society looks at its soaring skylines, its vast armies, its buzzing technology, and thinks, we are the exception. Our system is too smart, too strong to ever fail. History listens to this confidence and whispers a different story. A story not of aliens or asteroids, but of slow, quiet cracks forming from within. A story that repeats, not because it must, but because we keep forgetting to listen. This is not a prophecy, it's a pattern, and its clues are all around us. Think of the mightiest empire you've ever read about. At its peak, its people felt what we feel today, a sense of permanence. The roads are solid, the laws are established, the borders seem secure. Life, for many, is good. This feeling is the first, most seductive warning sign. Why? Because it changes how people think. When you believe something is permanent, you stop maintaining it with the same urgency. You assume it will just keep going. You see a small problem, a crumbling bridge, a confusing law, a simmering public complaint, and you think, we'll get to it later. The system can handle it. The longer success lasts, the more later becomes the norm. This is the paradox. The height of a civilization's power is often the beginning of its vulnerability, not because of what's outside the gates, but because of what's happening inside the minds of the people it protects. Let's rewind. How do civilizations even get to that peak? It always starts with a struggle, a common purpose. A group of people facing hardship realize they are stronger together. They agree on simple, clear rules. We protect each other. We share what we have. We follow the leader who gets us through this. There's a direct line between effort and reward. The leader eats the same food, faces the same dangers. Trust is high because survival depends on it. This unity is like rocket fuel. It propels them from survival to stability, from stability to wealth, from wealth to dominance. But here is the turning point. The moment the pattern always begins. Success changes the equation. The generation that fought for the water rights is gone. The one that built the first walls is retired. The new generation inherits the full-grown city, the flowing aqueduct, the powerful army. They never knew the struggle that built it all. And slowly, without anyone meaning for it to happen, the focus shifts. It shifts from, what must we build together, to, what can I get for myself? This shift is almost invisible at first. Maybe it's a merchant who finds a loophole in the tax code and keeps the profits. Maybe it's a local official who gives a contract to his cousin instead of the best builder. Small things, understandable things, but this is how the foundation erodes. Over time, these small choices create a system that works better for those who know how to work it. Power and wealth begin to cluster, not because of shared sacrifice, but because of cleverness, connections, or luck. The people making the big decisions about laws, money, war, start to live in a different world. They live in neighborhoods of safety, insulated from the consequences of their choices. Can a leader who has never worried about a medical bill truly understand healthcare policy? Can a policymaker whose children go to private, guarded schools truly grasp the fear in a public school? This isn't about evil intentions. It's about a disconnection of experience. And a disconnected leadership is a blind leadership. We see this play out in our world every day. Not in togas and sandals, but in suits and on screens. It's the lobbyist writing a law that benefits one industry, hidden in pages of complex legal text. It's the company that uses profits for stock buybacks instead of raising wages, because the system rewards shareholders, not workers. It's the political class that becomes a permanent professional career, losing touch with the lives of the people they represent. The result is a deep, simmering inequality. not just of money, but of opportunity, dignity, and faith. When people feel the game is rigged, they stop wanting to play by the rules. Trust in institutions, governments, media, courts, starts to fall. Why trust a system that doesn't seem to see you? This loss of trust is more dangerous than any invading army. An army attacks from outside. Distrust eats away at the bonds that hold a society together from the inside. Here's a crucial lesson. History screams at us. Civilizations are rarely destroyed. They are usually opened from within. Think of a mighty castle with thick walls. It can withstand a siege for years. But what if the guards are asleep? What if the people inside are arguing about who gets the best rooms and someone forgets to lock the gate? The enemy doesn't smash the walls. They walk through the open door. Throughout history, the barbarians at the gate didn't defeat great empires in their prime. They arrived when the empire was already exhausted by civil war, by corruption, by the sheer cost of holding on to too much territory. The real threat was never the outsider with a sword. It was the insider who stopped caring, the leader who hoarded wealth while the roads crumbled, the public that was too divided to see the common threat. This leads to another classic trap: overstretch. A civilization gets a taste of power and thinks more is always better. More territory, more influence, more control. At first, it works. New lands bring new resources, new taxes, new glory. But empire's expensive. You need soldiers to garrison the new territories, administrators to run them, and endless money to pay for it all. Where does that money come from? From the people back home. Taxes go up, services get cut. The average citizen works harder to pay for glory they never see. We see modern versions of this. A country spending trillions on military power abroad while its bridges and schools decay at home. A corporation so obsessed with global domination, it neglects the quality of its core product. It's the same story. Resources stretched too thin, focus pulled away from the foundation. You cannot maintain strength abroad while ignoring weakness at home, not forever. Perhaps the most silent killer of civilizations is the loss of a shared story. In the beginning, the story is simple and powerful. We are in this together. We believe in these values. This is what it means to be one of us. But as inequality grows and distrust sets in, that story splinters. One group's truth becomes another group's lie. One channel's news becomes another channel's propaganda. Compromise is seen as betrayal. Political opponents are seen as enemies. Society doesn't just have different opinions, it lives in different realities. And it's impossible to solve shared problems when you can't even agree on the basic facts of what the problem is. Our modern, hyper-connected world has accelerated this. Social media algorithms don't show us a shared reality, they show us a personalized one, designed to keep us engaged by feeding our existing beliefs and fears. This doesn't just create division, it makes collective action, the very thing that builds civilizations almost impossible. This is the most dangerous phase of all. When collapse is already underway, but everything still looks strong. The skyline is still dazzling. The military parades are still impressive. The official speeches are still full of confidence. But underneath, the society is running on fumes, on borrowed money, borrowed time, and borrowed trust. At this point, leaders often double down on the illusion. They use force to quiet dissent. They blame external enemies for internal problems. They offer grand, nationalistic spectacles instead of humble, honest reform. They try to fix a broken foundation with a fresh coat of paint. And for a little while, it works. The paint is shiny, it distracts the eye. But then a crisis hits, a financial crash, a natural disaster, a pandemic, a political scandal, and the facade shatters. revealing the rot that was there all along. To everyone's shock, the seemingly mighty civilization stumbles or falls. People say, "It happened so fast," but it didn't. The cracks were there for generations. We just learned not to see them. So, why do we ignore these patterns? If they're so clear in history books, why don't we see them in our own mirrors? The answer is painfully human. Confronting decline is hard, humble work. It means admitting mistakes. It means sacrificing short-term gain for long-term survival. It means the powerful sharing power, the wealthy sharing resources. It's much easier to point at an external enemy, to shout a slogan, to buy another symbol of status, to scroll to the next distraction. Denial is a warm, comfortable blanket. History is a cold, revealing mirror. We choose the blanket every time, until the room gets so cold the blanket no longer works. The lesson of history is not a death sentence, it is a diagnosis. It tells us that civilizations don't fall because of a lack of intelligence or technology. The Romans were brilliant engineers. Others were unmatched philosophers, artists, warriors. They fell because of a lack of wisdom. The wisdom to remember that all systems are built and maintained by people. The wisdom to know that unity is not the absence of difference, but the commitment to a common ground. The wisdom to understand that true strength is not just the power to take, but the responsibility to care for what you have. We stand at the same crossroads every great society has faced. One path is well worn, leading downward. It's paved with denial, division, and the selfish short-term choice. The other path is harder to climb. It's built with humility, repair, and the courageous long-term view. History doesn't choose for us. It just shows us, with heartbreaking clarity, where each path leads. The cracks we see around us today are not a sign that the end is here. They are a sign that repair is possible, but only if we are brave enough to pick up the tools and wise enough to remember what we're trying to save.